Exciting news! The free Rainbow Push mobile app is ready for download. Get all the news and schedules for the upcoming convention and more. Go to the Rainbow Push homepage at www.rainbowpush.org to download app today. Noticias importantes. La aplicación móvil y gratis de Rainbow Push está lista para utilizar. Obtengan todas las noticias y horarios para la próxima convención y mucho más. Visiten la página de inicio de Rainbow Push en www.rainbowpush.org para descargar la aplicación hoy. Register today for the Rainbow Push Coalition and Citizenship Education Fund's 46th Annual International Convention, Wednesday, July 12th through July 15th, 2017, at the Hilton and Towers in Chicago, Illinois. The theme this year is Heal and Rebuild. For further information, go to www.rainbowpush.org or call 773-373-3366. July 12th through July 15th, 2017, Chicago, Illinois.
You tuned in to another live broadcast of the Rainbow Push Coalition. We are live here in Chicago. We're in Dr. King's workshop. Listen, you still have time to get here. 50th and Drexel. Call somebody, tweet somebody, text somebody, and let them know that the push is still on. Come on, put your hands together all over the building. We're excited to be back here on a Saturday morning. You should call us right now. Reverend Jackson is here. He wants to hear from you. The number's right there, 773-256-2775. 773-256-2775. Listen, we are live right now all over the world. We are live on AM 1690 and iHeartRadio. We are live right now on our website. To view us, go to rainbowpush.org, rainbowpush.org, and click on the red button that says click here for live video. Once you click on that red button, you will have three options. It will take you to three options. You can watch us live right now on YouTube, live on Facebook Live, and live on live stream, all from our website at rainbowpush.org. We are grateful to each of you who continue to watch us each and every week. You tune in your homes, your automobiles, your places of business, wherever you're kind enough to tune in. We thank God for you. To our international audience, we especially want to welcome you, those of you who are watching us right now from Morocco, from Poland, Ireland, from Sweden and Brazil. We thank God for you. And to those of you who are watching us right here in the United States, especially our satellite cities of New York, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Detroit, and Silicon Valley, we thank God for you. Come on, let's give a big hand to all of our viewers who are watching us, who support us each and every week. Listen, I want to dedicate this broadcast to the family of Pastor Tyrone Crider. That homegoing celebration is happening right now at the House of Hope Church here in Chicago. We're lifting up Pastor Crider's family and his church family in a very special way on today. And also the family of Dr. Samuel Du Bois Cook, former president of Dillard University, Morehouse class of 1948, along with Dr. King, and the first African-American tenure professor on the faculty of Duke University made this transition, and so we are lifting up the Cook family as well. Listen, there's so much happening here at Rainbow Push, but we want to make you aware that all roads still lead to Chicago, July 12th through the 15th for our 46th Annual International Convention. Listen, we're excited about our convention. Registration is now open. Early bird registration is now open at $100. We have reduced rates for senior citizens and for students, and you will hear more about our awesome convention later on in the broadcast. Listen, you can follow Reverend Jackson right now, wherever he is all over the world, on Twitter at Rev J Jackson. You can like him on Facebook at Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Tonight, you can watch Up Front with Reverend Jesse Jackson right here at rainbowpush.org, 9 p.m. Central Time. And tomorrow, start your week off right by listening to Keep Hope Alive Radio, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time, right here, AM 1690 and iHeartRadio, and KeepHopeAliveRadio.com. Listen, our listening to Keep Hope Alive Radio. She's no stranger. She's been here before. She's a young sister, Sister AM 1690 and iHeart. Senior at Proviso West High School. Let's give her a great hand clap as she comes to give her speech and introduce our founder and president, the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. Ashcraft. She's a senior at Proviso.
Good morning, Rainbow Push. This morning, I have the pleasure to share with you some excerpts from Shirley Chisholm's Brooklyn announcement. I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic presidency of the United States of America. Now, I am not the candidate of Black America, although I am Black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement of this country, although I am a woman, and I am equally proud of that. I am not the candidate of any political bosses or special interests. I stand here now without endorsements from many big-name politicians or celebrities or any other kind of prop. I do not intend to offer to you the tired and glib cliches which for too long have been an accepted part of our political lives. I am the candidate of the people of America, and my presence before you now symbolizes a new era in American political history. Those of you who were locked outside of the convention hall in 1968, those of you who can now vote for the first time, those of you who agree with me that the institutions of this country belong to all of those who inhabit it, those of you who were neglected, left out, shunned aside, ignored, or forgotten for whatever reason, join me in the effort to reshape our society and regain control of our destiny as we go down the Chisholm Trail. I would remind all Americans at this hour of the words of Abraham Lincoln: "A house divided cannot stand." I have faith in the American people. I believe that we are smart enough to correct our mistakes. I believe that we are intelligent enough to recognize the talent, energy, and dedication which women and minorities have to offer. I know from my travels to the cities and small towns of America that we have a vast potential which can and must be put to constructive use in getting this great nation together. This morning, I'm here to introduce to you a leader who has not only inspired me, but plenty of other youth who do not have the opportunity to tell you. His confidence begets trust. His service brings satisfaction. It is my pleasure to introduce to some and present to others someone who has navigated us on a better path ahead, the one and only Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. Thank you.
Down with dope, up with hope. Down with dope, up with hope. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Today, even amidst our pain, Reverend Tyrone Crider, Mount Calvary Baptist Church will be laid to rest today. Oh, so many years ago, Reverend Willie Barron and a number of us went to Washington on a drive to end hunger, a drive to fight poverty, to continue Dr. King's work in the Poor People's Campaign. A young man took the microphone and said, that guy, whoever he is, has the it factor. That's something that makes someone stand out kind of special. The fact is, he was from Maywood, Illinois. He was a homeboy. He was then the leader at Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. He never stopped that quest to make a difference. He built a following in the Tribune, the Gospel magazine, pastor of a church, and we love and appreciate the legacy of Tyrone Crider and all his friends from Morehouse around the nation. Put your hand on your feet, show your love for Tyrone Crider. One more time. Before I bring on Tyrone, before I bring on Rejoy, I want Kim to come and give a selection in honor of Tyrone Crider, Reverend Tyrone Crider today. Many of our funeral was to be at the House of Hope, pastored by Reverend James Meeks today. But let me say, something marvelous has happened this weekend. Brother Rejoy, I want you to stand. And Sister Flowers, you stand. Illinois has passed unanimously in the House and Senate the automatic voter registration. That means when the governor signs the bill, 1.3 million will be registered to vote that day. Or that we'll take the burden. Illinois will become the 9th state to have automatic voter registration, when every state should have automatic voter registration at age 18. And then we're going to step beyond. We're also going to fight for the constitutional right to vote. It should not be controlled by states in the first place. The right to vote is so fundamental to our democracy, and so for you, Sister Mary Flowers, and those in the legislature, give you a big shout out to legislators. Give it up. Before I bring on Brother Joy, I really want to dedicate a song to Tyrone Crider, Reverend Tyrone Crider. And Sister Kim, come and take us to a place for a minute.
Jehovah Jireh, my provider, you are more than enough for me, oh God. Jehovah Rapha, you're my supply every last one of my needs. Ooh. For you've been more than enough, so much more than enough. You for you and for me. You really are. You are more than enough for you and me. I call him Jehovah. By his stripes, I after time after time after time after time after time after time. You keep proving to me that you are not just enough, but you are more than enough, more than enough, more than enough, more than enough for you and me. It's all right to put those hands together and give God some praise. My provider. You are more than enough for you and me. I call him Jehovah. You are my healer. For with by his stripes I am set free. You are Jehovah. God is with me. There to supply every one of my needs. God, you really been faithful. You really been good. You really been kind. You keep blowing my mind sometimes. You keep doing exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask or think. When I don't know what to do, you're right there. When I feel like throwing in the towel, you step up. God, you've been so faithful. You've been so good. When I felt like I was going down for the very last time, you shielded me. You told me to cast all my cares on you. You care about me. You care about me. He cares about us. And he's not just enough in every facet of our lives. God, you will be more than enough, more than enough. Jesus, you are a doctor in the sick room, a lawyer in the courtroom, a bridge over troubled water, friend when I needed one. More than enough for you and me. Thank you, Jesus.
Kim.
Somebody ought to give
Let's
him
hear it
the
for
praise.
Kim. Let's hear it for Kim.
Somebody ought to give him the praise.
Yeah.
Somebody ought to give him some praise.
Yeah.
When the praises go up, he can mend a broken heart. When the praises go up, he's so good, 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 he's so good.
Let's hear it for Kim Stratton. In the days ahead, you'll hear much more about the Illinois State Black Legislative Caucus, but more than that, the Latino Caucus and progressives in this state were able to pull together a coalition. Tried the last time, failed, but we didn't give up. Now we'll be having, in a matter of days, the Illinois automatic voter registration. That should happen in every state. One of the leaders in this state has been Brother Ray Joy. Come, Brother Joy. He is head of Change Illinois. What does this mean to us? What does this mean? Give him a big hand, Brother Ray Joy.
Good morning. It's great to be here to talk about good news coming out of Springfield, Illinois. Does not happen often, but this is a really big deal and a giant step forward for democratic participation in our state. I'm proud to serve as co-chair of Just Democracy Illinois, which is a thank you. Just Democracy is a statewide voting rights collaborative committed to improving our systems of democracy and justice. Trevor Gervais from Common Cause, Illinois, is one of the key leaders in Just Democracy. Betty Magnus and Rainbow Push have been pushing every step of the way for the past 2 years to bring this important reform to Illinois. AVR, automatic voter registration, saves time, it saves money, and it strengthens our democracy. There are about 2 million missing voters in Illinois. These are people who are eligible to vote, but for whatever reason, they're not on the voting rolls. We anticipate that with automatic voter registration, we'll add 1.13 million voters to our voting rolls. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal, particularly at this moment in time, where nationally and in states, including states just surrounding us in Wisconsin and Indiana, many of them are rolling back voting rights. Many of them are making it harder for people to cast a ballot. In 2017, there have been 99 proposals introduced to make it harder for people to vote. And these proposals have been introduced in 31 states. So in this climate, this is a giant step forward for Illinois. It elevates our state as a leader in voting rights, as a leader in civil rights. The other piece that I'm really proud of is the bipartisan spirit that's been demonstrated with this proposal, at least in 2017. This measure passed the state Senate 48-0. Unanimous bipartisan support. This measure passed the Illinois House 115-0 with bipartisan unanimous support. The governor has indicated his willingness to sign the bill. It's really important that we sign the bill and we sign it right away. And once we sign it, it's really important that we fully implement AVR. In closing, I would just like to say voting is the cornerstone of our democracy, and it's our most important civil right. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone who's worked harder or worked longer to advance voting rights and civil rights than Reverend Jesse Jackson. All of us who care about democracy and justice owe Reverend Jackson a tremendous debt of gratitude for his leadership, for his service. We look forward to working with Rainbow Push to get this signed into law and to push forward and make it not just the law of the land here in Illinois, but to make it law in all 50 states. So thank you all for your support.
What Joyce, and that when it's signed, 2 million people be on the voting rolls in this state. There are 50 million in America. And at our convention, which I want Jeanette to talk about for a moment, in 12th through 15th of July, going to be a very special day focusing on voter rights per state. This is the 50th year since Mayor Richard Hatcher of Gary and Carl Stokes of Cleveland became mayors in those respective cities. That was just 2 years after Selma. 50 years ago, we celebrate them, but a big focus is going to be all you who are activists around the country. Even during that season of Trump, do not let them break our spirits. Jeanette Wilson, give us a word about the convention, please. Give it up for Reverend Attorney Jeanette Wilson.
Good morning. I'm so excited, and I know I got to hurry because Reverend Jackson is standing behind me, but we're going to open the convention with a historic signing of the first automatic voter registration act in Illinois. So we will have a historic signing. All of the Black Caucus members will be here, the majority leader for the House, the Speaker of the Senate will be here, and this whole coalition will be here opening our convention with this movement because we're focused on voting rights. But then we're going to move on. We're focused about economic parity, economic justice, both on a global and a national scale. We have international guests coming from South Africa, from throughout the continent of Africa, talking about doing business internationally, the global business opportunities. We have a small business workshop. We have Intel, Rosalind Hudnall from Intel will be here. We also have the governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, will be speaking at the business luncheon. So we're looking at public and private sector business opportunities. That morning and afternoon, we have educational plenaries. We're going to look at school funding, where we are and where we are not. We're going to be looking at the survival of HBCUs. We're going to honor our scholarship recipients. The Cyrilla McSween scholarship recipients will be announced that night. We also will announce our Oral Lee Saunders scholars. You will meet some of them. You will hear about all of them. And then we move on to Thursday morning, we're going to open with labor. We have the former Secretary of Labor, who is now head of the DNC. We're going to be talking about the Fight for 15. We're going to talk about temporary workers. We're going to honor those people that work 3 jobs just to get 1 job with no benefits. We're going to talk about public policy changes to our labor situation in the United States. Then we have the most powerful preacher coming. Wow, I just tell you what, I know his name is Reverend William Barber. We're going to renew with him the Poor People's Campaign. You remember Reverend Jackson was mayor of Resurrection City? Well, we're going to resurrect another city in 2017. Poverty is rising in America. Joblessness is on the increase, and we must fight back. Well, that afternoon, we're going to be talking about sports. You hear about all of these athletes. You hear about LeBron, and you're watching them play. Well, we're talking about life beyond the playing field. What happens when you're injured? What happens when you can't play anymore? What happens when you're like Kaepernick, you stand up and then they push you out? Well, what we're going to talk about is life beyond the playing field and fairness and equity for athletes from a high school, college, and professional levels. NCAA will be there, and several athletes are going to be issuing their books. Many of our athletes are authors, and you're going to have a book signing. The sports banquet will have Dr. Lloyd Walton, Bernard King, former New York Knick, and our own favorite, the real former Detroit Piston, Isaiah Thomas is going to be there, Dr. Richard Lapchick. And then for the hip-hop crowd, for the young adults, there's an independent music seminar. You're going to find out, how did chant make it so big so quick? What happened? How do you do that? And then we're going to have a young adult roundtable moving from SNCC to Black Lives Matter, that unbroken line of social justice and social change. And then Friday morning, we have a health care breakfast. We're going to talk about where we are on affordable care, what some call the Obamacare. It is the Affordable Care Act. We have a workshop with a plenary session with Jack Lynch and Dr. Selwyn Rogers, the director of the University of Chicago Trauma Center. We're going to talk about violence as a public health crisis. And then we're going to have a consumer financial workshop on the Women's Day, the Women's Roundtable, because we buy more than anybody else, we shop more than anybody else, and now we're going to look at how can we conserve our money and shop where it matters. We have some of the most powerful women coming. Elizabeth Warren, you've seen her on the news. Senator Elizabeth Warren will be at the Women's Luncheon. We have Congresswoman Maxine Waters. You've seen her on CNBC and every kind of network. And look, this is a secret, so don't tell anybody. We're going to honor Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. And we have a black-brown reception. We're going to be talking about immigration, one of the hottest issues in America today. People are being deported even as we speak. A man was going to pick up his child from the hospital and was deported on the way to the hospital, or ISIS met him at his house. We're going to have one of the first at our convention, an Illinois gubernatorial forum, so that we can hear how these candidates are going to address our public policy platform. What are they going to say about education? What are they going to say about funding our schools? What are they going to say about equity and parity in business? Oh, I really can't wait to get to Saturday, because we're going to look back 50 years when the first African Americans were elected to the office of mayor in a northern city. We're going to talk about Richard Gordon Hatcher and Gary and what that meant for politics going forward. We're going to talk about the election of Carl Stokes 50 years ago in Ohio. What does that mean for the landscape, the political landscape of the nation? I know you don't want to miss it, so you got to be here Saturday. We're going to be at Push Friday night and Saturday. We're right here at 930 East 50th Street. All you got to do is get here. Well, and then we have a black-brown officials challenge. All elected officials from around the nation will be gathering, city, county, state, and federal elected officials that are African American and people of color. They will be here in a round table. I think Reverend has convened some of the hottest political strategists in the country. We open with a breakfast on Saturday morning. We have two panels that will be live streamed, live on Facebook, live on television, and then we have instead of going in the backyard, we're overflowing. We're going out in the community. We're having a love fest. All of our gospel artists, all of our rhythm and blues artists will be outside in the front. We're going to be eating barbecue. We're going to be eating chicken. And some of y'all know y'all don't eat no chicken. You want that barbecue. We're going to have ribs and everything. It is closing out our historic convention. You want to be here. What do you have to do? You got to register. Go right now to rainbowpush.org. It's $100. $35 for students and seniors. Don't get confused. Reverend told me I got to sit down, so I got to go. But you better register today because you don't want to be left out of this historic moment.
Put your hand together for Jeanette Wilson. It's a joy to me every week as he has become such a developed activist and political leader and interpreter of the economics of our times. He's my son, but more than that, he's a son beloved. There's none like him. I want Brother Jonathan Jackson, our national spokesman, to come down and give us our message for the day. Brother Jonathan Jackson, give it up, give it up, give it up.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. Dad, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. It's a double blessing to say both. We have a very special guest here, Reverend Brownlee. Thank you for coming out today. And I just want you to know if I could sing. Never mind. But I'm going to ask a friend of mine that honored me today in coming by here to share his talent, his gift, and he's going to sing to you the exact same way that if the Lord strikes me now and lets me sing, this is what I would say. Come on, Maurice.
Oh, Lord, oh, Lord, Lord. Song go like this. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. This verse go. If the sky that we look upon somehow should crumble and fall, and the mountains should crumble by the sea. Oh, no, I won't shed a tear. No, I won't shed a tear. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, 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 stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me whenever I'm in trouble. Stand by me. Oh, stand by me. stand by me. Stand by me, yeah. Stand.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Maurice Mahan, and I look forward to you coming back real soon, Maurice. I'm going to speak very briefly, and you're going to come right back, Maurice. Today, I want to say a very special thank you to Miss Mary Flowers, our representative in season and out of season, a woman that tirelessly gives. And my remarks today simply is going to be, I was going through the O'Hare Airport the other day, and I decided to take the train back into the city. So as I was going downstairs, I saw a bulletin board, and the board said, "You are what you give." That's my message for today. You are what you give. What would it say about you, your life, your character, if you had to simply be judged by what you give? I know you've heard you are what you eat, junk in, junk out. You know, I've shared with you, you are where you live. We've talked about the transit workers over the past year. The leading cause of upward mobility, a signal, is the access to your transit in your neighborhood. Not your neighborhood school, not your neighborhood resources, but your ability to move around this great metropolis that is full of resources. But if you are locked out of the mass transit grid, like we are on the south and west side of Chicago, I would affectionately call that Soweto in Chicago. You've heard of the South and West Townships in South Africa. They get their name Soweto from the South and West Townships. We are living here in Chicago and across many cities in America in a Soweto, simply being locked out of the mainstream economics. When you see 4 neighborhoods in Chicago that are primarily Caucasian, that have gone up in the last 15 years by 15,000 residents, and they are mostly white, and you see 4 neighborhoods in Chicago, predominantly African American, that have gone down by 20 to 25,000 residents. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not urban gentrification. This is ethnic cleansing. Black Chicagoans are being pushed out, kicked out, and left out of the city of Chicago. When you have 300 schools in the city of Chicago where a black child will not sit next to a white child, that is apartheid right here in America. When I ask you, you are what you give, what are you giving to civil rights? It doesn't have to be to Rainbow Push. We could certainly use your support, but name a support of an organization you've given anything to. The year is half over, it's June. What have you stood for this year? I know you give away your clothes when you outgrow them. So many of us ever give them away because we lost weight. We give them away because they got too small. And then those clothes, we still hold on to them knowing you're never going to get back into them. You give away your leftover clothes. I remember talking with a gentleman one time that was homeless. And I just did the Jesse Jackson thing. I just used my rights. I know the restaurant didn't want to see the man in there, but the Jesse Jackson son in me said, I know I can go in. And I've enjoyed talking with this gentleman outside that's homeless, and I want to sit down and talk with him. So I brought him in the restaurant with me to sit down. The manager and everyone looked up and was concerned. I said, if you would be so kind, I would like to have my guest in here with me. And they had a long, leery eye and said, okay, Mr. Jackson. So we sat down and ate. And I asked the man about his story, and I wanted to know, how did you become homeless? And he said he had some substance issues, family didn't get along with him, he'd just rather be outside. So I could see there was some mental challenges there. And then I said, well, when you start slipping down into homelessness, like you start making this descent, when do you know that now you're officially homeless? He says, well, you don't have a place to stay. Then you move from house to house. Then you stay out late one night. And then finally, you have to beg. And he says, something in you breaks down on the inside when you have to ask somebody, when you have to beg. And I said, well, what's the most humiliating thing about being homeless? He says, people will leave out of this restaurant and they will come out with their leftover food and they will give it to you. That's a new low when you are homeless. He says, and even sometimes if people were to invite you to sit down and eat, the plate they've just eaten out of, they will push it in front of you and say, now you can eat. Even a homeless person doesn't want to eat behind you. But what does that say about the person that offered the food? Should you feel good about yourself having humiliated another human being? Would you want to be homeless and somebody give you their leftover food? So I'm asking all of us as brothers and sisters, I have my shortcomings, but it's so few that do so much for so many. What have we done as individuals? How are we raising our children to be givers and not takers? One of the first things I asked the good Lord to do when I was raising my children to guide me is I said, Lord, help me to grow up. Hello. I want to grow up first, Lord, because I know whatever is in me is going to be in my children. And if you are a taker and never a giver, you know what kind of children you're going to have? And I asked the Lord, please, Lord, let me not have a child that I don't like. Now I understand how people can have a child that they don't like. And I want to thank God because I love my 3 little babies. And I must say they're molded after me and their mom. And I want to say to all of us, ladies and gentlemen, your children will do no better than you. Your children will be no more kind than you. Your child will be no more loving than you. Your child will be no more of a stand-up person than you. I thank God for my mother and my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. You've got to learn to take a stand. No more laughing when it's not funny. No more itching and scratching where it doesn't itch. What are we going to do for ourselves? Mr. Ray Joy, I appreciate you and your work on Change Illinois. Now that we have the right and the power and we've made voting all the easier, what are we going to do with that power to vote? We can change our influence. Why did Governor Rauner sign it in the state of Illinois? It's election season. He's going to try to make a strong comeback with $120 million on the sideline to support him. Illinois is slated to have the most expensive, richest gubernatorial election in American history. Well, let me tell you something. The only way anyone can win to become the next governor for the state of Illinois is through the black community right here on the south and west side of Chicago. The city of Chicago has the lowest credit rating, the highest interest rates on our school bonds. The state has the lowest credit rating, but thank God Almighty, you gotta come back through Soweto. You're about to see some money hit the streets like you've never, ever done before. It's the 150th anniversary of Chicago State. You're gonna think in a minute that Governor Bruce Rauner went to Chicago State. You're gonna see people tripping over themselves coming down Austin, going down Madison, coming down down Chicago, North Avenue, Lawndale, Springfield, coming down Cottage King, Stony, Jeffrey Yates, going to the southeast side, going out to the Wild 100. You're going to see them. But let me tell you this, when they come, I want you to ask them, what have you done for the black community? You are what you give. We don't want anything else that's left over. I don't want your soup. I don't want your plate. I don't want to drink your backwash or nothing from your lips. I want my own right now up front. No more backwash. The last sip. Now get the first sip. The first of everything good. Ladies and gentlemen, you are what you give. When we look at City Hall, the black community put Mayor Rahm Emanuel back in office. I want you to remember the same people that told you to put him in there when they tell you some other advice. Somebody says, Jonathan, you've already declared who you're supporting in the race. I said, that's not important. I stood with Chewy. I stood with Carol Moseley Braun. I stood with Bernie Sanders. I can take a candidate that doesn't win, but I can't take a candidate that doesn't fight and a candidate that isn't right. What are you going to do? I'm asking you, ladies and gentlemen, you are what you give. Are we going to bring our children to a civil rights event? I met Brother Maurice Mahan at the Westside NAACP fundraiser, the biggest fundraiser of the year for the Westside NAACP. I asked rhetorically, did you go? Did you go to the one on the South Side? Have you ever been to a Rainbow Push convention? Have you ever been to something that wasn't self-aggrandizing and all about you? Have you ever been to something that was a fight where you were not self-interested in some way you can get an accolade and feel better about yourself? Lord, if you want to find the Lord, you're going to find him by losing yourself. You're going to find him by reaching a little higher. You're going to find the Lord in the low places where the child was born, in a manger, in the barn, in the projects, in the outhouse. Trust me when I tell you, you're going to meet a talent like this young man, Brother Maurice. I want you to get ready to sing, Maurice. And we started talking about Brother Johnny Taylor. And what I like about Reverend Johnny Taylor, you know him, the gospel, blues, soul artist. He is jazz. He is soul. If you want to go to the casino, I'm sure you could have gone with Mr. Johnny Taylor. I'm sure he would get up and take you to church. Then you can meet him in the club. He was the African-American experience. I love being an African-American. I love being black. I love being a Negro. I love being colored. I want to keep my soul intact. You are what you give. Teach our children. You're black and you're proud. Come on, Maurice.
I need y'all to clap your hands with me. Come on. People keep on running. Yeah. Soldiers keep on warring. Oh, yeah. World, keep on turning. Yeah. 'Cause it won't be too long. Listen, I'm so glad that you let me try again. Last time on earth, I let the whole world to sing, y'all. So glad that I know more than I knew then. Gonna keep on trying till I reach my higher ground. Y'all know this song, come on. Yeah. ahead, come on. Oh, so glad that you let me try again. Last time on earth I lived the whole world of sin. So glad that I know more than I knew then. Keep on trying till I reach my high ground. Till I reach my high ground, yeah. I believe it this morning. No one's gonna put me down. Oh, till I reach my high ground, yeah. God bless you, God bless you.
Thank you, Brother Maurice. Give him another loving round of applause. I see Brother Todd Lewis. His father was a founding member here. Mr. Tom Lewis, a mentor and friend. Great to see you, Todd, in your father's rightful place. And I'm glad that you have it now. Thank you. I'm going to ask the Reverend Attorney Jeanette Wilson. It's time for our collection fundraising. Rainbow Push lives, survives off of your individual contributions and support. One of the reasons you can hear our voice speak for our issues is because we are independent. We are grown folks. We are African Americans. We can say what we want to whom we want as long as we want because we pay for it ourselves. That is made solely in part because of you. And this, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you in telling you, we are what we give. Are we going to teach our children to be givers or just takers? There's a selfishness that I'm seeing that's really bothering me. I saw an older gentleman yesterday. He was dropping some wood off at my house. He said his grandson used to help him on his truck. Now that his grandson went to college, he won't help him on his truck deliver the wood in the summertime from Home Depot. He says he doesn't understand that because his grandson needs some money, but he doesn't want to work. And I had my son with me, and I thank my son Noah for being with me. People were just marveled to see a young African-American male out with his father doing some work. We've got to change this, brothers and sisters. Reverend Attorney Wilson.
As Jonathan has indicated, it's very important that we support an organization, and this one needs and deserves your support, given the fact that our founder has had 50 consecutive unbroken years of service to the world, not just to Chicago. If you're a hostage, Reverend is there to get you out. If you're in jail, he's one fighting for you in the Innocence Project. If you are a business and you have no access to capital, no access to deal flow, no access to the marketplace, Reverend Jackson and Push open up the doors for you. If you are a parent and you can't get your child in a particular school, if your child is struggling, if you're a teacher and you've been abused by the system, it was Reverend Jackson that opened up Chicago Public Schools to African American teachers so that they could get certified years ago. If you're a firefighter and you can't get promoted on the force, if you're a police officer and you've been struggling as an African American to be promoted and be assigned to certain kinds of duties and positions, it's Rainbow Push that fought for you. It's Operation Push, and before that, Operation Breadbasket. It is Push that keeps fighting to get your products on the shelves. It is our consumer club that helps get your product off the shelf. And so we fight for you, and therefore we simply ask that you support us. And that's why when Jonathan gave that powerful message, give him a round of applause. What are you doing? What are you giving? What have you given lately? Who have you given it to? And I know a lot of female friends of mine, they have a shopping ministry, a mall ministry. So I need you just before you hit the malls today, because it's a wonderful day, before you hit your golf course ministry, if you haven't already gone, before you hit that second thing on the tennis court, I need you to give right now, wherever you are. You can go to your cell phones, go to rainbowpush.org and click on donate. Go to rainbowpush.org and hit the button donate. You don't even have to come here. Those of you who are in the audience and you have credit cards, we'll take your swipe as well, so get your credit card out, we can swipe it. I want to thank John Rogers for his consistent presence every Saturday. When he doesn't come, he makes up for the Saturdays he was not here. Some of you haven't been in a while because. So I need you to write your checks now to Rainbow Push, Rainbow Push. There are those who are listening to us on Facebook Live or live stream. You can simply call us, 773-575-1801. Now, to register, how many of you want to register today like I'm going to do? Register for the convention. All right, we're taking registrations. You can swipe or you can write a check, Rainbow Push, for writing your checks. Rainbow Push, Rainbow Push. How many of you want to donate $100 right now? Now, you know, since Reverend is gone, we have to get that $100 right now. I need 10 people. Don't worry, I'm coming down your street because Miss Gurnell taught me how to go all the way down to $1 in the barrel. Those of you who will give $100, raise your hand just so I can count. Either you're registering for the convention or you're going to give or donate $100. If you're sitting on the front row, Omar, you know the deal. Got to pay for that seat. Rod Joy, we need you to register. Whenever you get on the mic, we're going to let you know you have to register for the convention so that you can come back and speak. Trevor, you know the rule. Those of you who would give $50 or more, raise your hands. $50 or more. LaShawn, I'm so glad to see you. She's been at Chicago State in school for the last 2 years. She went underground. Those of you who will give $35 or more. I see y'all are writing. Raise your hand so I know you're writing something for us. Raise your checks. Thank you. All right. I'm so glad to see Todd and the son look just like you. Tom would be so proud, Bernetta. Son looks better, though. Doris Holder, thank you. Mildred Wilson Collier, thank you so much, $25. Those of you who would give something, won't you stand and go to the aisle closest to where you're seated, to right or left. Chris, can y'all sing? Y'all playing music, but we need to sing some giving music. Because you're about to put Omar to sleep. I want to thank Cedric Wright and Francis Wright, $25. I want to thank Frederick Smith and Associates for $50. If you need to swipe, see John Adams, our CFO, right over here, and he'll walk back and forth.
Down through the years, God's been good to me. Everybody help me say down through the years, God's been good. Oh, down through the years, God's been, He's been good
God's been good to you. You got to show some kind of sign.
God's been, come on, my life. God's been good to me. He's been good, really been good to me. All through the years, God's been good to me. Down through the years, God's been good to me. Down through the years, God's been good to me. He's been good, really been good to me.
Who did not have an opportunity to give? Everybody gave? Won't you stand as Reverend Brownlee will come and dismiss us with prayer? We have two people that are swiping their cards. Where'd he go? Reverend? I'm looking for you. Don't leave.
Mighty and gracious God, the author and the finisher of our faith. Father God, we thank you for being in our midst today. And as we leave this place but not your presence, bind us together with a chain of love and keep us in Jesus' name. And let the church say amen, amen, amen.